hate. Hate, 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 hate. I'm a hater. You guys ever watch Dave Chappelle? Remember that he used to do a piece on this? Hate, 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 hate. It's like he did like this Player Haters Award, and it was just this whole segment of the show if you were a fan. I thought it was a joke until today, and now I realize that I am one. So, maybe Chappelle was onto something all those years ago. Because we got Fury and we got Ngannou. And I'm not happy about it. Why not? Well, that's very weird. Like that's a character flaw within me somewhere. I don't want that to be in me, but it's true. I'm not happy about it for a number of reasons. And the only thing I should be over here saying is, good job, Francis. Congratulations, right? That's what I should be saying. That's the honorable thing to say. But it's just a weird position for a number of reasons that I fully admit I don't think anyone's going to care about. I think it's just me. I think from a PR perspective, the right thing to do if you're Chael is to say, congratulations, good luck with your fight, and move on with my day. But it's difficult for me because there are codes of honor. And there's a way that business must be done for our sport, which I know people say that it's mainstream and that the sport made it. But there's a part of me that's stuck back at the beginning, right back where I came from, where it was only legal in 2 states. We had Las Vegas, we had the state of Nevada, the state of New Jersey. Mark Ratner, Larry Hazard, 2 massive leaders in boxing, and they both embraced MMA. And then you got 48 other states that you're battling for. And at one point, we get 49 of them done, but we can't get New York, right? I mean, it's a thing, but it was fragile. And if certain codes of honor weren't followed, the sport wouldn't have made it. And one of the big things is exclusivity within a brand. You fight for the UFC, you only fight for the UFC until that contract is done, and then you have a different conversation. The sport's not where it is today. Had that not been followed and honored and enforced, and there was all sorts of ways around it, regardless of what you have been told. There's ways around it right now, regardless of what you have been told. And we're seeing the boxers do it, and we're not seeing anybody else. We're not seeing any sport anywhere doing it. And it's not because they have an honor. It's because they haven't opened their eyes and seen what's happening. Let me give you a perspective. You think, what would be a great match? What's a match that you guys have wanted to see? You think that the Bellator champion, right, Vadim, 205 pounds, cannot fight the UFC champion, Corey Hill. Yes, they could. They could go do it today. And you'll have Scott Coker and you'll have Dana White come out and say Chael is wrong. No, I'm not. They could go and do it today. Well, we will sue them. You won't win. They could fight each other today. They couldn't do it in Bellator, and they couldn't do it in the UFC. They could go do it somewhere else. And they could call it an exhibition. And this is a workaround like the world has never seen. Sports Center has never covered this topic. Right? The leader in all of sports, Sports Center, has never covered this topic because they don't know what's happening. It's happening right in front of them. It's been hidden in plain sight. And nobody understands that it's happening. So what boxing did is they They took guys that were exclusive. Exclusive to what? You could fill in the blanks, right? The way the contracts work, they have guys that are exclusive that is intended very clearly that when you compete, you do it over here. And you only do it over here for X amount of time. And in exchange, I'm going to have to shell out some ducats. This is what we're going to do, and this is how we do it. But you could go anytime you wanted and go and do something else. I mean, feel as though maybe I'm not wording this well, right? I'm trying to bring this down. Let me give you a great example. You can only box here, and that's crystal clear. That's in the contract. You ever try to fight that, I will get an injunction so fast from any judge. And you know it, which is why you're never going to mess with this. And no other promoter is going to try to sign you. That would be interference of a contractual agreement. I will get any judge in any court to bring a gavel down on you very, very fast. Well, okay, time out. What do you mean I can't box? I mean, I box every day. Every day I box. I do it in the gym. We call it sparring, but every single day I box, so I can box. Well, yeah, okay, yeah, well, you can do that. That doesn't count. Well, why? If that doesn't, you said I can't box anywhere else, but I box every day in my gym. So now we've established that I can box other places. That's what we've done here. How far does that pendulum swing? What if I want to bring in a camera crew to the gym? Yeah, hell, that's normal. Yeah, we do that all the time. We put on countdown shows and 24/7 and embeddeds, and that's perfectly normal within our industry. Okay. Let's say I leave the gym. I got the same guy. I'm going to do the exact same thing, but I'm not going to do it in the gym. Yeah, that'd be okay, I guess. Okay, but and now I'm also going to film it, which we've already established I can do. You already said I can box this guy and I can film it. Can I now do it out of the gym? Yeah, okay, you can do it out of the gym. Can I do it in an arena? Can I have people pay to come in and watch while I spar, while I just work out with this guy at a specific time for a predetermined amount of rounds? And you start to see where this exclusivity is only as good as the people agreeing to it allow to make it. And that doesn't end in any sport. There is no sport that this couldn't be done in. The NCAA championship team could play the Super Bowl champions. No, they couldn't. The NCAA can't put that in. Their rules are very clear. The NFL can't put that on. Their rules are very clear. Okay, great. I don't disagree on that. You could go and do it over here. Another guy could come and do it, and we could call it a scrimmage. We could, apparently, if we just call it a different word, it's allowed to be done. And it's a very fascinating topic. It's an amazing concept that Floyd Mayweather single-handedly showed to the world. Right, there was this massive thing, Live Golf and the PGA. You guys might remember that. I think there was like a merger or something. I think that's done. I don't follow golf very close, but this was a phenomenon, and this was out there, and this was being discussed, and it was also very real threats from the PGA. If you go over and do this, you are right. It's one of these things. We're getting proven to us that you can go do those things. You just need to apparently play a game with the semantics. Call it an exhibition. It's the same thing. You tell me I can't box anywhere else, but I'm going to tell you I box every single day in the gym, and you're going to make a concession, and you're going to go, well, yes, of course you can. Well, if of course I can do that, we've now established that I can box other places. So then you just start testing that of where and how far. And when you get to the point that you can't do this, okay, but why? If you're the decision maker, at least in your own mind, and you're telling me I can't do it, you have to send me what's known as a cease and assist. This is the policy. In the cease and assist, you have to tell me what I need to cease and assist. So once you do, and now we have established it, I will then just change it. Very, very effective. I grew up through marijuana being illegal, marijuana being imprisonable, and I watched them take that very product and they renamed it hemp. And I mean, it was overnight. That was much less. That was not looked at or looked down on, or it was different. It was something different. Then they got into the CBD, and it was a fascinating thing, and it was the power changing words. I grew up through something called the death tax. And the death tax was a hard one to get over. So they took the exact same principles, but they called it an estate tax. Sailed right through. And I'm just bringing it to you because that's what we're seeing here. Right? We've got Francis and we've got Tyson. ESPN reported, I got to say this because I didn't think that this was accurate, but ESPN says that Tyson is the WBO champion. And in my mind, I watched him retire, which would then relinquish all belts. And I didn't think he ever competed again. I must be wrong. My memory must be off. The night that Tyson retired in front of 93,000 people where he brought Francis into the ring, he must have competed since then, and it must have been for the WBO belt. I don't bring that to you for any other reason than the WBO belt that is being reported that is currently Tyson's is not on the line. There is no form of combat where when you compete, whatever title you got isn't on the line. That was done in the NWA right back in the day. Ric Flair used to get pinned by Dusty Rhodes, but Rick would keep the belt because it was a non-title match. That's not the way it's actually done. So we have two guys that are going to go and do something. But it's a game of semantics. They're playing a game of semantics to get around laws that were intended for very good reason that our sport does not exist with if those aren't honored. So when you get a guy like me who works for ESPN, what do I do when I go on, guys? When they throw to me and they say, Chael, tell us about Francis versus Fury's fight coming up. Well, fight, like it or not, has a legal definition, and they are not meeting it. So I'm not going to call it a fight when I'm on ESPN. So if they change the word, Chael, I don't know what you're doing here, what game you're playing. These guys are going to box. Just talk about it. Well, no, there again, that is a legal, defined definition, and they are not meeting it. So if they're not fighting and they're not boxing, when I go on ESPN, how should I explain this? What should I tell them they're doing? There was a gentleman who told Ariel Helwani today, when Ariel asked this, is this an exhibition? Is this real? Or is this an exhibition? There's a huge difference. Would you guys agree with that? Because then we just keep on changing the word and I'll eventually get down to sparring. Will you agree with me that a sparring session is not the real thing? Can we all agree? Yes, of course we can. They're doing the same thing, but it's a different word. It has a different meaning. Do we all agree? Oh, yeah, we do. So Ariel went to get clarity of what this is, and he was told, and I quote, it will be under standard boxing rules. They can beat the F out of each other. Nice try. The last part of it could be true. But the first part of it can't be. There is a meaning. There is a code. There is rules. There is 1,000 years of history. I don't know what the oldest sport in the world is. I come from wrestling. We make the claim that it's wrestling. Boxing does not make the claim, but it might be boxing. It might not be wrestling. I don't know. Before there was courts or fields or balls or referees or uniforms or anything, somebody either grabbed somebody, which makes wrestling the oldest sport ever, or somebody punched somebody, which makes boxing the oldest sport ever. But I just bring this to you. There's a way to do it. There's a lineage. There's a history. What is it that's happening here? Floyd and Logan Paul agreed on rules and told them to us, the audience. When the match was over, they took those back. Floyd and Logan went and did, they were the first to do it. This has never been done. You have exclusivity contracts. You have things that guys can do and the things that they can't do. They broke all of these and got away with it without a lawsuit, without a cease and desist, without so much as a threat, just by changing the word. Much like a sparring session, which is different than a boxing match, even though the same two guys literally doing the exact same thing. So they changed it and they made it an exhibition. This is a fascinating topic. I hope that you're understanding this. But they had told the world if it went the distance that Paul wins. It went the distance. And neither one of them say Paul wins. In fact, Paul just recently talked about it and said that he won and then laughed hysterically to let everybody know he was kidding. So it's one of these things. What are we doing? How would I discuss this? Now, there's another side, which is Francis played a very risky game and he did it alone. He did not have a massive team and it wasn't massively powerful and he wasn't throwing money around a big office behind him. He did it alone and he succeeded. There is a side of great job, Francis. There is that side. With big risk comes big reward, and you always tip your hat to the winner. He won. But I don't have a piece that I can entertain you guys with. I could do it on Instagram, where it's commonly 18-second pieces. I could do it on Twitter, where the algorithm says 11 seconds is the best time. I could do it there, where I say he won, and congratulations, and way to go, and you showed patience, and maybe other guys with courage will follow in your footsteps. I don't know how to make that any longer. I don't know what to do. What are they doing? What is this that they're doing? And then they listed who was promoting this. It was a joke. It was a laughable joke. There's a company called Gimmick. It turns out that's Francis's company. That's funny. There was somebody, now Top Rank was in there somewhere. Somehow Top Rank got their little greedy hands in there. But you guys, I don't know what it is they're doing. This cannot be covered by a real sports network. It can't be done because this is not a real sport. And the floodgates are so widely opened right now. They are so incredibly open. The PGA just put out an argument with threats and punishments for anybody that went to live, and those would have held. Nobody would have even sued the PGA. They would just assume they had the authority and the power. But we're now finding out that these players can, in fact, play each other. They said just another guy has to put it on, and they have to call it something else. I can get 18 holes. I can get the cart, get my little putter out, get the competition, put the balls down. I just have to call it something else. I think that's very exciting, quite frankly. I would be very curious to see the NCAA team play an NFL team. That's interesting to me. I think some of our best athletes aren't getting paid and recognized. I think they're getting ready to shine in a year at the Olympic Games. I would like to see them be able to go both ways. Now it sounds like they can. We have to call it something else, but we can still see this person versus this person. We can still witness it. We can still watch that game. We can still make comparisons of the skills. We can still see these matches regardless of who signed where. Fury and Ngannou are going to do something.